Welcome to Central News. I'm Hilary Entwistle. In today's news, a University of Waikato academic has investigated the benefits of building a combined hydropower station and pump storage systems between Lakes Wanaka and Hawea. Earth and Ocean Sciences Associate Professor Earl Bardsley wants to get Otago residents' opinions on the possibility of having a power station which could send water between the two lakes, controlling Wanaka water level fluctuations and generating electricity. He says rain engineering is the way to do this successfully.
Two major benefits. One is that it will stabilise electricity prices and buffer us against future dry periods. And secondly, it will enable extra water to go on the Waitaki River for irrigation and also stabilise the level of the existing hydro lakes and make them more natural rather than going up and down in a seasonal cycle with shoreline erosion as at present in Lake Pukaki and Lake Tekapo.
A 5-year high in building consents for new houses has Bay of Plenty builders optimistic work is beginning to return to the sector. Latest figures from Statistics New Zealand show the Bay of Plenty experienced a 73% jump in new building consents, climbing from 69 in March to 106 last month. The rise in consents equates to a $4 million increase from 23 million to 27 million. The positivity comes after the Tauranga Chamber of Commerce announced last week business confidence amongst northern regions improved to 45%, more than double from this time last year, with the construction sector highlighted as doing very well. A ban on the use of new domestic open fireplaces installed after May next year and new rules for industrial discharges to air are now in force in Hamilton City. The restrictions are the result of national environmental standards from the Ministry for the Environment, designed to protect people from the effects of PM10 particles put into the atmosphere from burning and other activities. PM10 particles mainly come from wood burnt for home heating in older inefficient burners and open fireplaces. They can cause health issues when breathed in. Waikato Regional Council, monitoring at its Peach Grove Road site, has shown the PM10 standards were exceeded in Hamilton on the 12th, 13th and 15th of May. Now for our region's weather, Hamilton, your Tuesday is forecasted to be sunny with a few light winds. Your expected high is 16 and an overnight low of 6. Tauranga, your Tuesday will be fine too with a westerly. Your expected high is 18 and an overnight low of 9. Just ahead, Tauranga needs a new vision statement. Welcome to Central News on TV Central. The Chamber of Commerce in Tauranga has suggested the city needs a compelling vision statement that would be adopted. I found out what that could possibly be and why Tauranga needs a new vision statement. The Chamber has suggested that the city needs a new vision statement that be adopted. What would that be?
It would be something that comes out of the community, something that they're engaged with, but it could be something as small as the greatest little city, something that when you're talking about it, you get inspired by it. At the moment, the city has a vision that is about 60 or so words long, doesn't say anything, it just talks around a whole lot of stuff. It doesn't actually encapsulate what this place is about. And something as simple as the greatest little city says everything. We're never going to be big, we're never going to be Auckland, we don't want to be, but we are a great little city. And why not aspire to be the best little city? I think it's important that you've got something that everyone attaches to.
Why does the Chamber think that there does need to be a new vision statement?
Because at the moment, like I said, it's dull, it's boring, it's blah blah, it sounds like planner speak, it doesn't sound like people speak. We are about people in this city. You know, the greatest asset this city has is its people and the diversity that we have. Let's hear something that talks to them, that they feel really proud about, that they can just drop that in to the end of their conversation all the time.
What was the council's response?
Interesting. A little bit of sort of quiet silence and so what do you think that could be? And a little bit of possibly, you might say, defensiveness about it. And visions are often really difficult for politicians to get in behind. They like the idea of short, sweet, concise, but the work that wraps around that, especially if you engage with your community, is quite a lot. And that, in an election year for councillors, can sometimes be just a little bit tricky. So, interesting.
So what could Tauranga look like in the near future?
Brilliant, frankly. If we get that cohesive, we've got great infrastructure now, still working on getting better infrastructure. When we engage more with the people and we understand that this is a diverse city, it isn't all about older people. It has already got we've changed the demographics, so there's lots more young people living here. They have different expectations. They want to invest in this city and stay here forever, bring up their children. So they're looking for different things. So if you took all of that together, you add in the tertiary presence that I think is a critical element, then you're adding in a whole new group of people. Those students bring life to a city. They may from time to time misbehave, but that's minuscule in what else they offer. So I think the city's got a great future.
Who is Peter Kajiyama?
He is this interesting man out of America who has written a great book called For the Love of Cities. So it's about engaging people into loving their city and to actually, how do you express that? So he works at a very high level. He engages back with community, with business to say, this is your city. How do you love it? What are you going to do to make yourself love the city? What do we all do as a collective to engage back in that love of our city? So he's been invited here through Creative Tauranga and a group of other agencies, including the Chamber. And we'll just do some various workshops and introduce him to a whole lot of people. And hopefully that we get inspired out of what his words will bring with us.
So when and where can we go to see him?
The Chamber is doing a City Leaders Breakfast with him on the 18th of June at the Tauranga Club. And in the afternoon is a community workshop, which is complimentary. So we're inviting as many and all of the community that would like to come along. That will be held at Bay Court, and you can get contacts through either the Chamber or Creative Tauranga. And then he's going to go out to Te Puke and to Katikati and do some various workshops out there. So whilst it may not have the word city, it's still your town, your village, your place that you live in. And just do those things that make you have clever ideas about engaging back with, it could be getting a big wall and writing, we love Tauranga because. And what's the magic word that you love Tauranga because? It's great. I think it's fantastic. I love the idea.
So going back to that city vision, and the local body elections are coming up, what do you think that we should be looking for in a candidate?
If I would be looking at a candidate that says the CBD is the centre of the region, it is the commercial, civic and cultural hub, what can we do to make it vibrant and alive? How do we make people part of this space? So what's the language that you hear and see around that? Quite often you hear, oh, we should just put a roof over it and call it a mall. What does it really matter? It's dying and who cares? That's just not the way you actually love your city. You love your city by engaging in that CBD, making it the place that people come. Your events are held there. Everything that makes a city alive and well is done in your CBD. So I'd look for that language from a candidate.
For all things Tauranga Chamber of Commerce, visit tauranga.org.nz. Coming up, Mayor Hugh Vercoe and the decision not to run for mayor again. Welcome back. Mayor Hugh Vercoe announced after 15 years of being mayor for Matamata Piako District Council, he will not stand again. I caught up with him to find out what his intentions are. Hugh, you have decided not to resign from local government altogether though, have you?
No, I've got an enormous knowledge of what's going on. I've been involved in the mayoral forum looking at restructuring within the Waikato that's coming down like a train at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So yeah, I would like to be involved in those sort of regional things on a larger area. So I will be standing for the Waikato Regional Council at the elections in October.
So why would you like to stand for that whole Waikato area, just not that Matamata district?
Again, a lot of my work in recent times has been in the broader area. I chair the civil defence for the whole of the Waikato area. I chair the mayoral forum that again is looking at a Waikato-wide structure. So yes, it's now time to start looking at that and concentrating on those issues as opposed to local issues.
So you think you have that knowledge of the wider Waikato area then?
Yes, I do. And the mayoral forum, for instance, that includes a city with Hamilton City, includes the regional council and all the outlying councils in there. I basically chair that because I have an understanding of how the city works, how the region works, and how rural authorities work. So that's been a help in building up my knowledge of what goes on in the whole Waikato, and it'd be interesting to take that forward.
So what has been some of the major changes that you've seen in 15 years?
I think we've seen enormous changes. That Matamata-Piako is a totally different place to what it was 15 years ago. And when you look back, simple things in Matamata, the streetscape that we did in Broadway, we did a streetscape in Morrinsville with funny angle parking on one side and parallel parking on the other, and that was going to be a disaster. We put in crossing points and took away the pedestrian crossings, and that was going to be a disaster. For Matamata, yes, we've put in the basics like extra water supplies and that, and we've upgraded the wastewater system. So an awful lot of money has been spent, and I believe that the district is a better place than it was 15 years ago.
Were you around for the merge in 1989?
No, I wasn't. I was running my own business and being a business person, and council and mergers did not even appear on my radar.
Not until you had the taste of local government, eh? So what changes have you seen in the way local government has been restructured in those 15 years?
Yeah, local government is looking at itself and how it delivers its services, which is why with the government coming in with the legislation to say you have to look at how you operate, the Auckland model that has come out, very, very strong. Auckland is now, we are told, the powerhouse of New Zealand, and Wellington is no longer the powerhouse. So, Hawke's Bay is saying that Napier and Hastings, they need to get together to be one unit. In the Waikato, we're saying the same thing, that we need to promote the Waikato in a stronger element. The far north, everybody is looking at how we can better operate and better reflect our communities.
Has the local government reform actually influenced your decision?
No, the 15 years, it was time for me to go. If local government reform hadn't been around, that was fine. I would have gone back and annoyed my office staff or my farm staff. But this way, they're quite happy if I stay doing something else for a few more years.
And do you have a predecessor in mind?
Well, anybody that wants to stand is welcome to convince the community that they should. My Deputy Mayor Jan Barnes has announced that she is standing. One of the councillors in Te Aroha, Ash Tanner, has advised that he will be standing. So let's see who comes forward at the time.
What do you think it takes to lead this district successfully?
You've got to understand the community, and we are still three separate communities, Matamata, Morrinsville and Te Aroha. We've got three main towns. They are highly parochial in their own right, and that's good. So you've got to get an understanding of the dynamics and the people that actually make things happen and the people that complain no matter what happens, and to lead the team of councillors with a vision of where you want to go and work together as a team.
What is the thing that you have been most proud of that you have changed in those 15 years?
I guess if you asked me that question, it was not long after I'd been mayor, and a lady came to see me from Waharoa, and she bought a Coke bottle and put it on my desk, and I said, yeah, that's a bottle of Coke. And she said, no, Hugh, that's the water that we get out of our tap. It is brown, it is disgusting, and nobody will do anything for us. And I said, you are joking. And at that stage, Waharoa had a board, was full of iron, and it was disgusting water, but nobody cared. So therefore we looked at it and said, how can we get decent water into Waharoa? And we put a pipeline in from Matamata, and Matamata's purest water now goes to Waharoa. And at the end of that, she came in, she gave me a card and a flower and said, after all these years, thank you. You have made our life so different in our little community. And that was neat.
Yeah, that is quite a cool story. So is there something that you're not so proud of then?
Oh, not at all. I'm not going to sit here and say what I'm not proud of. No, I think overall the council has responded to the community's requests wherever it could.
And do you think there'll be some tears when you leave?
Probably not, no. They'll say, Hugh, who is he? He was around for a while.
Oh, so, I mean, with the regional council, how much will they actually change your job if you get into the regional council?
Different role altogether. The mayor's role is going and talking to your community, being part of the community groups, going to the various functions, a lot of weekend work, a lot of evening work going, and that's been a neat part of the job. Regional council is more sitting at meetings, reading agendas and that sort of thing, because the area that I will be standing in takes in all of South Waikato, almost as far as Taupo, and right up to Ngatea and Paeroa. So it's an enormous area that you're supposed to look after. I'm not sure how you would attend every PTA or school prize giving in that greater area.
So do you think it'll be challenging then, being as successful?
It will be different, and if I can't achieve some progress in trying to refocus the regional council and look at what they can do, work closer with the local authorities, that's what I'm trying to achieve. If I don't, then 3 years' time, I'm out of there.
Well, thank you very much, and all the best with standing for the Waikato Regional Council.
Thank you, Hilary.
Just ahead, winter driving in the Waikato. If you've just joined us, welcome to Central News. A new high-level action plan to reduce the Waikato's crash rates has been approved by the Waikato Regional Council. Amy Forrest caught up with the Travel Behaviour Change Coordinator to find out more.
Hi Joe, now tell us about the high-level action plan.
The action plan is a 3-year plan which brings all of the agencies involved in road safety together to look at ways that we can improve the road system. There are a number of different components to the plan and there's a number of different agencies involved, but we're aiming to reduce serious injury and death on the region's roads.
So what are the main factors that contribute to Waikato's high road toll?
Yeah, it's quite a complex set of circumstances. So basically, when you're travelling in the Waikato, you have a higher exposure to risk than in many other regions in the country, and that's what we want people to understand. So we have a large and complex roading system. We've obviously got a lot of traffic on the road. We've got freight movements, we've got tourist traffic, we've got commuter traffic. And largely we have roads that just aren't designed to be used by that many vehicles and at high speeds. So complex range of issues. We also have a lot of drivers who choose to drive under the influence of alcohol, fatigued, speeding. So all of those factors contribute to, unfortunately, quite a high road toll in this region.
And what are the key priorities that you're focusing on?
So we're working with what's known as a safe system approach, and this is international best practice. And we've adopted it in New Zealand. So we have a New Zealand strategy called Safer Journeys, and that guides the national policies and actions in this area. And we have a regional approach which is also based on the safe system. And what that simply means is we're no longer just focusing on one area. We're not focusing on the driver and always educating the driver. We're trying to look at each of the component parts of the roading system. And there are 4 principal parts. The roads themselves, the infrastructure, the drivers or the road users, we're all road users in one way or another. The vehicles that are on the roads, so the safety of those vehicles themselves. And lastly, most importantly, is actually speed, and that's a critical factor in every crash. Every crash is related to speed. So the principal point of difference is that we're recognising that humans are fallible, humans do make mistakes, and what we're trying to do is, in the event of making a mistake, actually prevent that mistake from costing them their life or serious harm.
So where else has this system been trialled and how successful was it?
So the system has been extensively trialled in Europe. Most of our best practice tends to come from the Netherlands and Sweden with road safety. It was adopted by the World Health Organization in 2004 as best practice. So just to give you an idea of the scale of the issue worldwide, road crashes contribute to about 1 million deaths worldwide every year and about 50 million serious injuries. So it's up there with some of the major pandemics. But we just don't recognise it that way. So I think what we're trying to do is, put more emphasis on the risk of road crashes and actually try to bring them to the forefront of people's minds. So it has been trialled extensively around the world. It's now well known in Australia. It's been here for about 3 years. It's taken us that long to get our heads around what it actually means. And now we're actually sort of coming to terms with what we have to be doing to make it effective.
So it's already been implemented?
Yeah, we're building on the national strategy, which has been around for about 3 or 4 years now, and we also had a strategy in the region that came out 3 years ago. So that, to begin with, was about understanding the theory. Now we're coming to terms with actually implementing some of the really hard measures that are going to make a difference to the road toll.
Now, in terms of the road toll, whereabouts does the Waikato sit nationally?
We consistently sit at about 20% of the national road toll. So there's different ways of looking at it. So you can look at it from a pure numbers perspective, and we're about 20%. So we have Last year we had 65 fatalities and about 400 serious injury crashes just in the Waikato alone, sitting against just around about 300 fatalities nationwide. In terms of exposure to risk, we're much higher. So there are different ways to cut it, but either way, road safety is a serious priority for the Waikato region. And I think what is so positive about the Waikato region is that that's now been recognised by all of the agencies involved, by our regional politicians, by our leaders, and we're all on the same page with the fact that we actually want to do something about it, which is great.
So how are the Regional Council involved with the strategy?
Regional Council is the organisation that's responsible for coordinating the Regional Transport Committee, and you may be familiar with the committee. So that's made up of high-level politicians from each of our local authorities, from the main agencies involved in transport. The Transport Committee is responsible for road safety strategy. So Regional Council staff work with staff from many other agencies to come up with a strategy, but it's under the guidance of the Transport Committee, and ultimately at the end of the day, they're the organisation that owns it and are responsible for delivering it. Regional Council is coordinating that work.
And what would be the ultimate goal of this new action plan?
Well, the vision, we're deliberately being very ambitious. We have a vision, and it is a vision of 0 deaths and serious injuries on the region's roads. Now, obviously, that's a long-term vision. What we're working towards with this strategy is the 2040 target of halving our road toll. So that's what we've committed to, and that's what we're working towards. So each time we bring out the strategy, we are actually monitoring progress, so we know what we need to tweak to see, whether we're making progress in the right area, and we will keep reviewing it and revising our strategy. But that's what we're aiming for, to halve the road toll by 2040.
And I hear that you've recently won an award, so can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, I did. I was very privileged to be the first recipient of the Leo J. Tuman Road Safety Award. And you may be familiar with Leo Tuman. He was our road policing manager here for 48 years. Well, in road policing for 48 years, and latterly the road policing manager for the Waikato district. And in his time, he saw the regional road toll halve. Particularly honoured, I suppose, to receive that award, because Leo just was such an inspiration to all of those people that worked with him. And he never lost sight of the human tragedy involved in road crashes, and it's fitting to see his legacy live on.
For more information, visit waikatoregion.gov.nz. That is the news for today. We really want you to be involved, so like us on Facebook and let us know your views. If you have news including your own video and photos, go to our website and hit upload. Thanks for joining us. I will be back tomorrow night with more guests from in and around the regions. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Have a lovely evening.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.